Yo, good morning, Cyrus. Hi. How
Hi.
how was your weekend?
Weekend was horrible because let me introduce you. This is Prithvi, our new producer whose voice you're hearing. Unfortunately, Rishi got hit by a train while crossing between Panvel and Mumbai somewhere, and because of that, he's got chicken pox. And because of chicken pox, he can't come. And also, he's on his last legs with us for some reason. He's got some great job. So we are working with a fully new crew. Poor Prithvi is here for the first time under a lot of pressure. Shubhankar, who's worked with us for 10 years and has never actually done anything, has come here. And there are two more bodies, Vishnu and Shravan, who are even more useless than me, and they've just exited. Abhay sir is for some reason pretending to be the guest. I'm just giving all background before we start the AMAs. Huh? Bolo sir, Prithvi's first time. Encourage him and action.
Yeah, so Josephine in the Flying Machine asks,
Yeah.
as a famous male celebrity, do you feel deprived of the entitlement that average Indian male enjoys the freedom to gawk, spit, and scratch in public?
Well, firstly, Josephine, I feel that this is very sarcastic of you. You know, I'm neither famous nor a celebrity, and above all, hardly male. So I think in all three cases, I'm failing the test. But I respect celebrities who continue to behave in the way they would have behaved before they become the cynosure of eyes and people are staring at them, etc. So if you are a scratcher before like Sachin Tendulkar and you continue to scratch after while batting or whatever, a lot of respect because I think what you are is what you are. Why do you have to change? Unless you're like there are criminal elements to you, then under the microscope of people watching, then try not to be such a criminal. But other than that, I don't think it's a big deal. I appreciate when men scratch more, dig more, do all these things that they normally do, because then you're with normal people. When they don't do that and they put up an act, after some time they just get disconnected from you. So please, my to all the great celebrities who watch this show, and this show is only watched by celebrities. There's no non-celebrity watching the show at any point. We have the data with us. It's in my hand. I can read the names. A for Aflatun, famous Parsi celebrity. Just remember, be yourself. It's very important. This is not advice. This is just the way it is.
Great. Cheers for men. Second question comes from Why Though 11. What do you think about retention players for IPL before the next mega option?
Yeah, firstly, I might be looking at Prithvi, who's slightly off camera, so it's not that I've gone mad. So you see me suddenly looking like this, there's a reason for that. Secondly, talking about the IPL retention, I don't understand that either. You're retaining them now, and then 12 months later or 6 months later, you're going to the auction. It's really, I don't understand because anything can happen. Their form can also dip. You can't just go with last year's performance alone. Everything has to be looked at. It's all about time and momentum. As a cricket pundit, as one of the greatest minds in the sport, I'm not for it. I feel T20 cricket is all about the exact time. You can't look into 2 years back data for T20 cricket. Maybe for Test cricket it holds, but not for T20. So what we got to do here is have the auction almost at the same time you retain the players, and 48 hours later you have the auction. It should be like that. Nothing more for me. Next.
Super. If a film were being made about you, what would be the title be, and who would you choose as the director?
I've always maintained the name of the film, and I've said this for the last maybe 20 years, should be Jungli Jawani, which is how I see myself. In a positive, Jungli for me is not a bad word. Jawani, of course, is Jawani. We all want to hold that fountain of youth forever. But the jungliness is very important for me because wild doesn't have to be a negative thing. Sometimes you can say wild it's wild. So I mean it in a positive light, not like wild in like a primate, mad, crazy, dangerous savage. It's more like wild, reckless, but in a good way. So Jungli Jawani Part 2 should be my, because I always want people to think Part 1 kya hua? And then immediately there's a debate. Why is there no Part 1? And then later on, if we feel like we make Part 1 after Part 2. And Part 1 actually should be the second part of Part 2. So Part 1 comes after Part 2 and that leaves the audience guessing. This is my take.
The Jungli Jawani universe.
Yeah, the Jungli Jawani universe, just like as he's just mentioned, like the Avengers and all that. Why not? This is the multiverse is where we live now. Fair.
Cool. So tomorrow is the big day, and exit polls are very trending. So the question is, if exit polls in Indian election were a dish, would they be a spicy curry of predictions or a bland soup of uncertainty?
Well, it's a superb. If it was a dish, I think it should be bhelpuri, which is very difficult to put a spin on. It can be tikka, mita. It can be a mix. There can be three different chutneys. So I think it's like that. The opinion polls are differing. The average would be around 300 for NDA totally, but it goes up to 411 one pollster and down to 230 for another pollster. But mostly it's coming to 300. Remember, we don't know yet. We're recording on June 3rd, a much more significant day for me. It's my wife's birthday. She turns, let's say, 23 today, because if you mention any other age, people get upset. And by people, I mean her. So I'm dealing with that now. And then tomorrow it's the Olympics of politics. We'll see what happens. But above all, my problem remains the same. Whoever forms governments, and it looks likely it'll be the same government, why can't we change this dry day business? I still don't get the connection. What is your dry day got to do with counting votes? What is your dry day got to do with, and why dry day 2 days before and 1 day after? What is all that? I mean, what is this like foreplay ka dry day and then climax ke baad dry day for 1 day rest recovery? What is this? Forget this dry day. It's all about commerce. You have to make money and people drink. You control the drinking as much as you want to, but the dry day has no connection with politics as far as I'm concerned. As I've always maintained, mostly when people are a little high, maybe they'll be able to think better in terms of casting their vote or having a political conversation. So fair. Let's talk about this now. Somebody has to look at the elephant in the room. Dry day.
Yo. And on the other part of the world, Ambani's cruise is left. So it's the 2.0 wedding bashing going on. So just wanted to ask you, like, have you ever been invited for a Ambani gig? And what?
I have been invited. I've mentioned this before. For the second birthday of the twins, I think we had to perform some sort of mime show because they're very young kids. This was when they all lived in Cuff Parade. And I remember, we were the dinosaur, the two Kunals, Kunal Roy Kapoor, Kunal Vijayekar, and me. And I've explained it before, so you can see it. But it was a horrible. I mean, you're stuck in a dinosaur costume, and someone is the beginning, someone is the middle, someone is the end, and just people are kicking each other, and the kids are shouting at you and trying to touch you and poke you, and it's very humiliating. So I think after that, the Ambani relationship has gone sour. Because every time they've invited me, I'm a little worried they'll make me wear a dinosaur costume and walk around, and kids will kick me. So it's the same kids, by the way, they're just older now and got married. So I have to be a little careful about these things. But having said that, the chance of me getting invited, I think, would be mostly security, if they're one man short. I can't think of anything else.
Good. So heat wave in India has like in the north, Delhi has touched 50 degrees around
52.
Jaipur. 52, yeah.
Because we did this podcast, Podmaster Awards, and two of these boys who do a show, an openly gay show, which they do, which is doing really well. They came from Gurgaon in the morning, and they said it was 52 degrees when they caught the flight, some like 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning flight.
There was this report, like 60 people have died this summer just due to heat wave in total in India.
So now look at this: 60 people have died because of lack of liquids, and you make it a dry day because of elections. I mean, that's so unfair. I mean, just do the maths here. I mean, the one thing people need is liquids. Now, I'm not saying alcohol is good, but I'm just saying that any liquid is better than no liquid at all. Trust me, if there's nothing available, you'll drink wine, right? I mean, even someone who hates alcohol will be like, okay, I need wine, I'm really thirsty. So I think we should look at this in perspective, understand the context of what's happening around us. 52 degrees, horrible.
Do you feel the climate change is bigger issue than politics?
I think it's related because you have to blame the government if there's any problem with the weather. And the other thing is that what people don't understand is the Delhi boys came from Delhi 52, and me and Amit Doshi, our leader, were discussing how hot and humid it was at about 2:33 in the afternoon as we were entering the hotel. And they told me, what's wrong with you? This is the first time I've heard this. We are so happy to be in Mumbai. The temperature is so much better. I'm sorry I spat, but I don't know what to say. I mean, this is sarcasm to another level. You actually hear these words, I'm happy to be in Mumbai. The weather is so much better. Why? Because they came from 52 and we were still in the late 30s. Wow. 52 is my age and late 30s is what I want to be. So even there's a connection.
Yeah. So there's this good campaign, social media campaign, like a post going on called All Rise on Rafah. So do you think like reaching...
Well, I think that All Eyes on Rafah, basically because Rohit Sharma's wife went and posted that, and then all the trollers, or trollsters, or trollinders, the North Indians, trollers are called trollinders, they also started attacking this, like, why aren't you looking at the Kashmir issue, why aren't you looking at our issues, why are you suddenly turning all woke, etc., etc. So I think it's all got to do with that. So in India, whatever's happening in the rest of the world, our spin is always going to be very different. So it got buried. The whole Gaza issue and the Palestinian-Israel issue gets buried by the fact that we start thinking about how it's affecting us, or how we should not be looking there but looking somewhere else, because priority should be Desi philosophy first. And I suppose there's nothing wrong with that. You should buy only Indian clothes, Indian products, Indian manufactured labels, Indian food, Indian art, Indian cinema, Indian government. Okay, maybe not Indian government, but everything else.
So yeah, New York Stadium is holding India versus Pakistan, and Islamic states have already started to threaten. So the security is added up.
Yeah.
How excited are you now? The
I
player.
think the United States is a little worried They have their own Islamic terror issues and all that. And then suddenly they find 2 other countries have come and brought with them some extra terror. So I think that's not their purpose of business and, free economy, free market economy that they have promoted all their lives. So they're a little worried suddenly because where is this coming from? What is cricket? What is India? What is Pakistan? Why are they here? And why is there a World Cup? And why is USA playing it? And what's it got to do with anybody in USA? These are good questions to ask if you're American. But I hope nothing happens, because it's supposed to be a part of the world which is more secure than most other parts of the world. But you never know. This is the biggest worry about going to stadiums. I hate to say something like this, and people say, don't say things like that. But I'm always worried. When there's a high, whatever, Olympics coming up in Paris, World Cup cricket here, World Cup Euro football in a month or two there. So in all these big things, I'm always a little worried. I get really scared. If you're a terrorist and you're watching, and it's possible you are, because some terrorists are celebrities, can you not do this whole stadium thingy and, crowd thingy? Why can't you just basically, maybe if you just blow yourself up, you make the same point, and we all feel bad, and then we understand your cause, and maybe we'll support you. So I'm just saying, do that. Don't hurt the other.
So have you thought about retirement, or post 60 you're going to climb Everest and be that macho?
No, I don't want to climb Everest, except for the Everest in Malabar Hill, which is a building. I'm not into mountains and all. I like mountains to look at. I don't mind the view, but I've never liked walking and trekking, so I don't think I should do that. But my friend Kunal Vijayakar wants to go to the Everest top, whatever it's called, not the base camp, the actual peak, and he wants to go in a palki. So we are looking for 4 celebrities who will carry him. And what a feat that will be to carry him all the way to the peak with the palki, and then, he puts his flag. I mean, he'll make you put the flag, getting off the palki. And then you come down with him. And I believe coming down from the mountain is more tough, and more deaths and all happen in that descent than in the ascent. I don't know how true this is, but just be careful if you're one of the 4 guys carrying Kunal in the palki. So whoever you are, and we'll be taking offers from anyone: influencers, Bollywood stars, cricketers, ex-cricketers, smugglers, politicians who change parties, anybody. Everyone is welcome. Even people who have appeared on Big Boss. Yeah. And that's all we have time for, because we're running late for our live, so we have to end it here. Next week we will do it correctly. We have a new team. Prithvi has just taken over. Shubhankar has just woken up after 4 years. And Rishi may or may not come back for one last time. I'm not sure. Bye-bye.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcasts Network. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus is joined by filmmaker Kiran Rao, who talks about her recent directorial venture Lapata Ladies and recounts interesting stories from the sets of Lagan and Monsoon Wedding. On Paisa Vaisa, Anupam Gupta delves into the fascinating world of generational wealth with guest Nimish Shah. Discover how wealthy families manage their fortunes, the intriguing concept of the third generation curse, and the importance of succession planning. Folks, if you like our shows, spread the word, tell your friends, and don't forget to rate and review them wherever you're listening to them. Follow us on social media. We are IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You'll also find all our shows on youtube.com/IVM Podcasts. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week: Omidyar Network India, IDFC First Bank, and ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund. Thank you for making this possible.